Admiral Prakash, Admiral Anup Singh, senior officers present here, and friends. As rightly Commodore Shekhar introduced in the beginning, and what Admiral Prakash had mentioned in the morning, that a lot needs to be done in the indigenous content inside the ship when the ship is built in this country. It is for this very reason that this organization called Weapon and Electronic System Integration Engineering Establishment was created. So before going further, I just, for some of you who are not familiar with this organization, I'd like to give a small overview. In 1978, this organization was created to integrate weapons and sensors from varied origin on board of Godavari class ships, where you had a data bus from US, Italian combat system, Western and Indian origin, and many other type, and Russian weapons, various sensors. So this organization was created in 1978 to see whether we can build some expertise in-house to integrate various sensors. Having successfully done this in 1985, it was given a permanent status and renamed as Weapon System Electronic Engineering Establishment. The role of this organization transcends in all three dimensions: air, surface, and subsurface, and as we go by, I'll dwell it more on this. Having done the system integration activity to start with, went into command and control systems in 86, networking and data link in 89, information security in 97, submarine combat systems 2002, and now submarine integration. So as you see that as the organization kept on growing, more and more responsibility was given to the organization to do it. Incidentally, this is a unique organization in the defense services, which was conceived by the Navy as a totally autonomous organization under the Ministry of Defense, but working only for Navy. Tasking to this organization is by the Navy, funding is from the Navy. We are a blend of naval officers and scientific community, a total strength of about 80, plus we hire some software programmers from outside who stay there for 1 or 2 years. So a very small organization of about 80 officers which are doing all these activities. These are the key enablers. We follow an integrated system approach on warships. We develop combat management systems and data links for all the naval platforms. In fact, the Navy had decided long back that all the combat management system in the Navy will be designed and developed by VESI. And all the technical data links which are fitted in our ships and aircraft are designed and developed by VESI. Navy enterprise-wide network, which is already in place, and thereafter the task was enhanced to take care of the security of this enterprise network, security and layered security of the enterprise network. Incidentally, we are again the only organization in the Ministry of Defense so far who have deployed the crypto product which have been graded up to secret. And we are in the business of making combat management systems. Accordingly, these 80 odd officers which we have in VESI are divided into these 6 different groups, each doing a specific job. Now today I was given a complete freedom to choose the topic which I would like to talk about. And I chose combat management system because I personally am involved in this program in a different avatars from 1986 onwards. Right. So I'll just give you a small brief as to what combat management system is all about. It's the heart of the system where every weapon and every sensor is interfaced to this system. This is the heart of the system which controls takes the input and controls, give the input to weapon sensors, etc. So, based primarily the surveillance and picture compilation, technical assessment, and control of weapon and sensors. So these are the basic. Now, why I wanted to choose this topic? As the commercial world they say that my order book is full, and we have an order book which is full for the next 10 years. It's a Herculean task. The first combat management system that BSE designed took almost 12 years. The second combat systems took about 6 years. And now the challenge is to deliver one combat system every outfit year. Okay. And we have to do that, continue to do that for next 10 years. And perhaps thereafter, we have to take on the job for retrofitment on the ship, which will become obsolete. System will become obsolete after 10 to 12 years. We will start again. Okay. So we have a Herculean task in hand. And as you will realize that an imported combat system today, taking what we bought once, would cost you excess of about 80 million rupees. So that is the kind of $80 million. That's the kind of funds which are involved. And we have to continue doing this for next a decade or so, at least, and maybe another 2 decades. It is not possible for this small organization to do everything in-house. And as a policy, we do not do anything which can be done by anybody outside in the industry. So, I'll give a small preview as to what we are doing. I would like to bring about as to where do we need help from the industry. And if we are talking about help is not for a specific project. We are talking about partnership for a decade or 2. Okay. What we have been following the combat management system development. As you see on the left top corner, to start developing, we refer almost 9 different types of documents. Use little bit of manual modeling language, but most of it is manual work. We manually do coding. Coding becomes very, very lengthy and heavy. Typically, a combat system will have about 6 million lines of code. And we have got to resort to manual testing process. But there is a need for change. The need for change is for 2 accounts. One, the user requirements are growing, and they are growing not for the sake of growing, because the combat and tactical scenario around us is changing dramatically, because the type of sensors, the type of weapons that we are dealing with is changing dramatically. So is the user requirement changing. We have learned, been into this business for almost 2 decades now. We have learned a lot from our experience. There are large number of changes during the product life cycle, which we have to incorporate. As the Navy has decided to go for mid-life upgrade, there are large number of weapon and sensors are changed midway through. And moment the new weapon and sensor comes, if it has got to be integrated to combat management system, which it will be, which will have to, a large number of changes are required in the CMS system. If this is going to be the heart of the ship, it should have the fault tolerance, and it should have the minimum time to repair on board. And there is no scope for error in this whole business. So, what do we need? We can ill afford to go for that 9-book structure that we have been doing. We have to go in for model-driven approach. We have to redesign the architecture and provide an open, vendor-neutral approach. It should be resilient to technology. Today, a system the technology that I showed about 8 years back, before the system is fully being exploited is obsolete. But the architecture that we chose at that point in time was very, very tightly linked to the user requirement at that point in time, so which we cannot afford anymore. And we have to separate the business and application logic. So what the options we have? The two options. The 22 decades of experience that we have gained and the work that we have in hand, can we let it go? Answer is no. So we have to go in for reverse engineering. But when we do it in reverse engineering, I'm still tied up to the architecture that I chose about 2 decades back. Though I can do now model-driven approach, but architecture is tied up. Should I not start again in developing? And in the VESI, we have consciously decided that we follow both the approach together in 2 different type of systems. On submarine combat systems, we are doing a new architecture altogether, and the surface ships where we have delivered large number of systems, we want to do re-engineering. And what are the drivers for this two-pronged approach? Because we have been, as I said, we have been involved with the CMS program for a very long time. The requirements for the user are ever increasing. There is requirement to manage the obsolescence. And in our existing system, it is very difficult to change the paradigm midway through, because it is so tightly coupled. So let's discuss strategy 1. Normally what should have happened is, you should have followed a user requirement given. There should have been system engineering phase, where you should have captured the user requirement in a mathematical model. Then you should have decided the architecture. Having decided the architecture, you should have done the coding. But since we were new into this game 2 decades back, and the technology limitations were existing at that point in time, we could not follow this model. So what we are doing now, we have the code. We are doing reverse engineering code to reach to a particular mathematical model. We capture the user requirement and come back to this model and make a composite model now. What I will be able to do is that whatever the code that I have today, whatever the algorithm that I have used today, which have been tested over a number of years, will be reused in this fashion. And the additional requirement which are going to come through will come from the forward engineering route. And gradually, once I have the complete forward engineering thing made, I will be able to achieve what I want to achieve, that to make it independent of the source. In this second approach, the redesign, I have kept up a modularity, extensibility, interoperability and reliability, upgradability and supportability. I will decouple the applications both spatially and temporally. I got to have a high state of availability of system, and I got to make it absolutely the input agnostic as to, it doesn't matter what sensor or what weapon you want to bring in. You should be able to make it plug and play. So in the previous approach, the first empty blocks that you see were filled up first. That means I had decided this is the architecture I am going to use, and I start building upon that. I start with the empty box. We start capturing the user requirement, and after capturing the user requirement, I keep on filling the boxes. And at the end of it, I generate what weapons and sensors that I got to integrate with this. So what do I follow? What do I follow in this is primarily a data-centric approach. I am not dealing a sensor as a sensor anymore. I am making radar. If it's radar, it is going to give me range and bearing. Now, range and bearing is a data. Now, whether it comes from radar A or radar B or radar C, doesn't matter to me. I'll take that range and bearing is data to me, and data is the one which I'm going to handle. If it is going to come to me from n number of sensors, either on the same platform or when I'm operating in a fleet, then I will give a quality of, I'll assign a quality to each data also. So that when the data is going to be used, it comes with added quality standards on that. So that's the approach that we're going to follow. And if I've got to do this, right now we're trying to do everything in-house. But as I said, the number of projects that we have in hand are far too many, and we find a very, very little support from the industry as of now. At least we have not come across. And I would like to address this to this audience, that if we can get a support on issues like architecture framework, is DODAF and MODAF by US architecture, if I can adapt this architecture into my architecture, and somebody can do this job for us from outside VESI, because these are general architecture which are available freely, but somebody is going to work with this. System engineering, another aspect, we got very little support on this aspect from the field. The expertise to reverse engineer the legacy artifacts. As I said, we have got 20 years of lot legacy artifacts. I have got to reverse engineer that. Somebody has to hold our hands, because now we are going big way into COTS technology. Somebody has got to tell us what is roadmap that we must follow. Because this COTS technology has got advantage, but the basic disadvantage is going to be obsolete after 5 to 7 years. But we got to sustain the system for about 20 years, 25 years. So what is my roadmap to change over that? And finally, the long-term support is that what we are looking for. And I am looking for a support for next partnership for next 10 to 15 years. So with that, I will end my talk here. And I will be very happy that if some of you can come forward and can help us and achieve our national goal of self-reliance, which Navy has reposed so much of faith on us, and we got to deliver a large number of systems, and Navy has already decided that either VESI only has to do it, and we are not even thinking to go outside VESI for some of the systems that we are developing now. Thank you very much.